Hello and welcome to UZ Report World News, and my name is Bahram Ghafarov. Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev has signed a decree providing for the acceleration of privatization of state assets. According to the document, the involvement of professional organizations is carried out by the Agency for the Management of State Assets or the investment company, whose assets based on the selection of best offer. At the same time, no expert examination of concluded contracts is required. The asset value is determined by the professional organizations. Appraisal organizations will be selected based on their commercial proposals. Uzbekistan unveiled its extensive privatization program in October 2020, according to which country's largest companies are to go private either fully or partly. The list includes such giants as the energy firm Uzneftegaz, gold and uranium miner, Navoy Mining and Metallurgic Combine, Uzbekistan Railways and UzAuto Motors. Uzbekistan's one and only car manufacturer, UzAuto Motors, is switching to a new automated business process management system. The company expects that the use of SAP technologies will optimize complex business processes and provide full automation of planning, production, sales, personal work, and accounting of results at all levels.
As part of the further transformation of the activities of UzAuto Motors, a comprehensive automation of the company's business processes has been launched through a phased transition to the SAP, ERP, and CRM system. The press service of the company said the integration of SAP into the sales system of UzAuto Motors was the first step, intended to make the process more transparent without the influence of the human factor. Until the completion of this process, the system of automatic distribution of cars produced by the UzAuto Motors plant in Asaka is temporarily unavailable, and the conclusion of contracts for these cars is technically impossible, the company added. At the same time, it guaranteed the fulfillment of all obligations under previously concluded contracts. It said the introduction of the new system would not affect the delivery time of cars to customers.
The ancient Shashtipa settlement, situated within the precincts of Tashkent, is believed to be the oldest of over 200 archaeological monuments in Uzbekistan's capital. Apart from this, Shashtipa has the only fire worshippers temple discovered by the archaeologists on the territory of province. The earliest findings here date from the 3rd century BC. The researchers of Shashtipa Hill stated that it was remnants of a big settled point with a high fortress. Modern buildings reduced the area. As the construction works are being carried out near the archaeological monument, a dome is to be erected to preserve it from adverse weather conditions.
The work is carried out by the Madani Mera Scientific Research Institute under Uzbekistan's Ministry of Culture, whose report crew was able to witness the exposure of some archaeological findings, including the ceramics dating the period of the Karakhanid dynasty of the 10th and 11th centuries. They will soon become the new museum pieces.
То, что мы сейчас видим, это из верхнего слоя идет. Это слой.
Everything is found in the upper layer that we see now. This is a mixed layer, as I told you, in addition to the first monument, which dates back to the 2nd century BC. There is a hill at the top that has appeared over centuries. Usually such hills have always been inhabited by someone. Later we dug up the remains of fridge house here. We found a whole ensemble of kitchen utensils and ceramic sets that belonged to that time. All this dates back to the Karakhanid period, or the 11th and 12th centuries.
Древнему городищу Шаштепа вот уже более 2200 лет. Все это время он стоял.
The old city is over 2,200 years old. Until 2019, it has remained unharmed. Due to the heavy construction works, part of the monument has collapsed. In 2020, the UZ Report crew attempted to draw the public's attention to the current state of the monument. Margarita Filanovich is an archaeologist who revealed the monument and determined its date. Her student, architect Timur Nurulin, is assisting her. It was his idea to implement a conservation area project aimed at creating an archaeological museum. The scientists believe that erecting a canopy is not enough to preserve the construction.
Вокруг памятника будут созданы дорожки для осмотра этого памятника по кругу.
Walkways will be created around the monument to view it. An entrance group will be set up at the entrance where a ticket office will also be available. It's not just a dome. Bridges will be built around it, along which the monument will be visible from above. Because the population will not have access to the facility itself, only specialists will work here and observers will only be able to see the ruins. Preservation of this monument will help to create the ancient Tashkent route along the ancient monuments of the city: Chilanzar Aktepa, Minguruk, Yunsabat Aktepa. about.
Exploiting a child against his will is now considered a criminal act in Uzbekistan, as President Shavkat Mirziyoyev has signed a law on amendments to criminal code. The amendments show that the ones who force intimacy with a person under 18 will be under arrest. Spending 5 years in jail has also been established for inciting a minor to participate in the activities of illegal public associations and religious organizations, movements and sects. Suma Chakrabarti, advisor to President Shavkat Mirziyoyev on economic development, sees Uzbekistan's tourism industry as an upcoming locomotive of national economy. He expressed this view at a video conference held with the chair of Tourist Development Committee, Aziz Abduhakimov.
During the conference, Suma Chakrabarti was informed about the recent reforms in the tourism sector of Uzbekistan, investment opportunities in the country's tourism industry, new directions of tourism, as well as the conditions created for the safe stay of foreign tourists. The parties exchanged views on updating the strategy for the development of tourism and branding of Uzbekistan abroad in the post-pandemic period, as well as further development of the air transportation system.
The Uzbek government has eased the system of providing people in need of prosthetic and orthopedic products and rehabilitation equipment as defined in the state program for 2021. The following report has the details.
Prosthetic and orthopedic products for people with disabilities were previously issued through a special department in a centralized polyclinic. From now on, the patient who needs prosthetic and orthopedic products will be issued a certificate based on foreign experience.
Persons with a proven disability or with favorable clinical prognosis are referred ahead of time before receiving medical care. They are assigned a certain disability group for an unlimited period of time. These are persons with amputated limbs who have deafness and dumbness as well as with mental illnesses.
Urgench, Samarkand and Nukus cities of Uzbekistan will soon be connected with Turkestan, Aktau and Taraz of Kazakhstan with new flights. This agreement was reached at the meeting of the head of infrastructural development of Kazakhstan, Beybut Atamkulov, with the ambassador of Uzbekistan to Kazakhstan, Said Ikram Niyazhojayev.
In addition to opening new destinations, it is planned to increase the number of flights already in operation. The creation of joint ventures was also discussed at the meeting. Machine building production will appear in Kazakhstan, and pharmaceutical products will be produced in Uzbekistan. Moreover, it is planned to build a plant for the production of medicines and hygiene products in Shymkent.
Uzbekistan and Japan are expanding the student exchange programs. Creating partnerships for internships has been discussed at the official meeting of the delegation headed by Vice Rector Nabutaka Taguchi and First Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Javlan Kurbanov.
Today at Tashkent Institute of Pharmacy, we have signed an agreement on mutual cooperation with the University Irios AC Corporation Olki Medical Corporation. On its basis, we plan to exchange students under the 2+2 program. We're also working on opportunities for our graduates to work in Japan upon completion of their studies. It organizes Japanese language courses for our students. The official signing of the agreement between the university and Irios AC Corporation AIKAI was held. The signing of a memorandum between the University of Irios AC and the Tashkent Institute of Pharmacy is the main purpose of my visit. This includes the exchange of students in several areas, scientific exchange and the exchange of teachers. We'll also invite distinguished students to our university and create all the conditions for their work in the corporation. Thus, we'll make our contribution to the development of Uzbekistan.
Israel's largest healthcare provider is reporting a 94% drop in symptomatic COVID cases among people who have received the Pfizer vaccine. The study is the country's largest to date, being conducted among 600,000 people who received 2 doses. The group was also found to be 92% less likely to develop severe illness from the virus. Clalit, the healthcare provider that conducted the study, covers more than half of all Israelis. Clarit's chief innovation officer said, quote, "It shows unequivocally that Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine is extremely effective in the real world a week after the second dose. Israel is driving one of the world's fastest vaccine rollouts and is being closely watched because its database offers real-world insights into how effective the vaccines are outside of clinical trials." Researchers at the Weizmann Institute of Science have been crunching national data. They've seen a sharp decline in hospitalisation and serious illness among the first group to be vaccinated, people aged 60 or above. Hospitalisations and serious illness are still rising in younger groups, however, who began vaccinations weeks later.
As U.S. coronavirus vaccination efforts ramp up, a growing number of virus variants could challenge the public health response. Researchers at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles told Reuters that a new coronavirus variant found in California drove a surge in cases during the Christmas-New Year holiday period. Dr. Jasmine Plummer compared the Cal-20C variant to another highly contagious mutation, first discovered in the United Kingdom.
We're learning a lot from the strains. If we look at the UK variant, we're actually learning that it's more infectious.
On Sunday, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky said there are over 1,000 cases of the British coronavirus variant known as B.1.1.7 in the United States. She added that it may become the dominant strain by the end of March. The highly transmissible South African mutation was also detected in the United States at the end of January. Reuters data on Sunday showed there were more than 27 million coronavirus cases in the U.S. The nation's death toll is steadily climbing toward 500,000. Rite Aid CEO Hayward Donegan on Sunday said vaccine supply has so far been unable to meet the demand. She added that private sector pharmacies would be best equipped to help with regards to scheduling vaccinations, which is so far still in the hands of state and local jurisdictions. Late last week, U.S. President Joe Biden said the U.S. would have enough vaccine doses for 300 million people by the end of July.
Argentine ex-president Carlos Menem died at age 90. The country's current president tweeted on Sunday, "With deep regret, I learned of his death. All my love goes to all those who mourn him today." Menem was a flamboyant character whose personal life littered the 1990s tabloids, while he also led Argentina into an economic boom. He battled long-term health problems late in life, but he'll be remembered for his two-term presidency from 1989 to 1999. Menem considered himself the populist successor of his political mentor and founder of the Peronist Party, Juan Perón. He served as La Rioja's governor in the mid-1970s, but after a military coup in 1976, he was imprisoned for 5 years. After his release, he was re-elected governor 2 more times and prepared his bid for the presidency. A charismatic leader who dressed in stylish silk and linen suits, he inherited a broken economy with rampant inflation in 1989. Although he was a populist, he sold off state companies and instituted free market reforms, which drew him praise from Washington, D.C. and international leaders. Argentina's economy grew robustly in the early 1990s, but Menem was later blamed for high unemployment, corruption, and overspending. His personal life also garnered attention a year after becoming president, when he and his wife separated over his rock star lifestyle and devotion to fast cars, golf, and glamour. He wanted to run for a 3rd term, but courts ruled he could not, and economic and political chaos descended on Argentina soon after he left power. He told Reuters in a 2004 interview, "With the last breath I take, I will remain in politics." His body will lie in state at the Capitol building before being laid to rest in an Islamic cemetery near Buenos Aires.
Britain's Prince Harry and his wife, actress Meghan Markle, are expecting their 2nd child. A spokesperson on Sunday said the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were, quote, overjoyed. 36-year-old Harry and 39-year-old Meghan stepped back from royal duties last year and moved with their first child, Archie, to Southern California. A spokesperson for Buckingham Palace on Sunday said Queen Elizabeth, her husband Prince Philip, Harry's father Prince Charles, and the whole family were, quote, delighted at the news. Last year, Meghan revealed she had a miscarriage in July, in an extraordinarily personal disclosure coming from a high-profile British royal. Since ending their royal duties, Harry and Meghan have continued charity work and signed TV and other media deals, launching their debut podcast in December. After a glittering wedding in 2018, the royal couple's relationship with the British press swiftly soured. Harry and Meghan have launched legal cases against several newspapers. Last week, Meghan won a privacy claim against the parent of the Mail on Sunday newspaper, which printed extracts of a letter she wrote to her father.
NASA this week will attempt to land a rover on Mars, and the engineers behind the mission say 7 months of space travel will come down to what they call 7 minutes of terror. That's the amount of time the rover, dubbed Perseverance, will take to descend through the thin Martian atmosphere to the surface of the red planet. But its radio signals take 11 minutes to reach the Jet Propulsion Laboratory near Los Angeles, which means for those 7 minutes, NASA won't know if the robotic astrobiology lab landed safely in one piece or burned to a crisp. Al Chen, head of the JPL descent and landing team, called the entry, descent, and landing phase the most critical and most dangerous part of the $2.7 billion mission. Much is riding on the outcome. Building on discoveries of nearly 20 U.S. outings to Mars, Perseverance may set the stage for scientists to conclusively show whether life has existed beyond Earth, while paving the way for eventual human missions to the fourth planet from the Sun. Touchdown is currently scheduled for Thursday afternoon.
New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern on Sunday announced a 3-day lockdown in the country's biggest city, Auckland, after 3 new COVID-19 cases emerged. They're the first local infections detected since late January. Ardern said Level 3 restrictions will require everyone to stay at home except for essential shopping and essential work.
3 days, though, should give us enough time to gather further information, undertake large-scale testing, and establish if there has been wider community transmission. That is what we believe the cautious approach requires and is the right thing to do.
She went on to tell the news conference in Wellington, quote, "We've stamped out this virus before and we will do it again." Sunday's cases were traced back to a couple and their daughter in Auckland. Health authorities are trying to find out whether they involve any of the new highly infectious variants that have been found in other countries, including the UK and South Africa. The COVID-19 alert for the rest of New Zealand was raised to Level 2, with all gatherings limited to 100 people, including at restaurants and cafes. The country is due to start inoculating its population of 5 million with the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine from next Saturday.
Oil prices soared on Monday. Fears of heightened tensions in the Middle East prompted fresh buying, pushing prices to their highest in around 13 months. Brent crude was up as much as 1.6% in morning trade, while US benchmark futures gained over 2%. Monday's rally follows last week's oil price gains of around 5%. Concerns are growing over the Middle East. On Sunday, the Saudi-led coalition fighting in Yemen said it had intercepted and destroyed an explosive drone. State TV reports say it was fired towards the kingdom by the Iran-aligned Houthi group. Analysts say the tensions prompted the early spike in trading. Others say it was also driven by growing hopes that US stimulus and easing of lockdowns will boost the economy and fuel demand. Oil prices have also been supported in recent weeks as supplies tighten. That's due largely to production cuts by the OPEC group of producer nations and its allies.
So far, these were the latest news for today. Goodbye. Take care.